love drinking lemonade, and I especially love the different flavored lemonades, but I want them to be natural. I'm telling you, there's nothing like going into the garden, working on the garden, and having a cold, ice-filled glass of blackberry lemonade just waiting for you as you get hot. So I'll start with 2 pounds worth of blackberries. These ones were actually frozen, so I'll need to put a little bit of juice in with them to make it easier for the blender to blend them up. I'll also need 4 cups worth of lemon juice, but I'll start out by just putting about a cup worth in here to help it. This lemon juice is actually fresh squeezed, but I've used bottled as well, and it works just the same. And then I'll blend it on medium for about 30 seconds. Now I'll transfer my blackberries into a pot. It really just looks like a smoothie right now. If you do this with the fresh blackberries, it's a little bit easier. Now I'll place this on the stove and heat it up until it's almost bubbly, just the beginning of a simmer. Now I'll take my blackberries, and they should be pretty liquefied at this point, and I'll pour them through a sieve. This is actually a pretty coarse strainer. I don't mind it if I get a couple of seeds through. I just want to keep the majority of the bigger ones out. So then what I do is I just press it back and forth along this. This is the top of my honey strainer. If I really didn't want any seeds in it, I would use the lower portion of my honey strainer because it's much more fine. The other thing that you can do is just some cheesecloth. That works pretty well. Now you can just let it sit here for a while being like, I don't know, an hour, and it'll eventually get the majority of the liquid through, but I'm not quite that patient. So I just take a silicone spatula and press it back and forth. As you clear the strainer off, it makes it so that more of the liquid can go through. It usually only takes 5 minutes or so of doing this. And you can see just how much of that liquid has gone through. It's mostly just the seeds that are left behind. And I'll just give the seeds to my chickens, but if you don't have chickens, you can mix it with a little peanut butter and maybe put it on a pine cone or something of that nature and put it outside for the wild birds. Now I'll lift up my strainer and I'll carefully get everything that's attached to the bottom. Usually there's some that'll be stuck on there. Now I'll add the rest of my 4 cups of lemon juice and 6 cups of sugar. I'll then mix that together and place it on the stove and bring it up to 190 degrees for 5 minutes. Because there tends to be just a little bit of film that forms on the top, I'll pull that off and put that into my extra jar. I just kind of skim it by pulling it all into one area. This is honestly kind of nice because this is usually what I use as my taste tester. And then I just go right underneath that foam, lift it up, put it into my jar. Now that I've removed all of my foam, I'm ready to jar my lemonade concentrate. And I'll be putting this into pint-sized jars today. I need to leave 1/4 of an inch of headspace, which is the space from the top of the food to the top of the jar. The smell to this is just amazing. It's interesting because it's that citrus lemon, of course, but then it almost has this floral type smell. And then I'll use a clean, damp cloth to wipe off the rim of my jars so that if anything got on the edge, that it won't interfere with the seal. And then I'll place my lids and rings on until they're fingertip tight. I'm using Superb canning lids today, and they are actually my new favorite. They're super squishy as far as their seal goes, which is great because it does such a good job of adhering to my jars. Seals for up to 36 months as opposed to 18 months like my old ones used to. And they have just been a wonderful company to work with. I actually don't have anything bad to say about them, but I do have a 20% off coupon code as well as the link in my description below. So now I'll place these in my boiling water bath, submerged by 1 to 2 inches of water, and process them for 15 minutes if I'm at sea level. I'm at 1,200 feet, so I'll process them for 20, but I won't start my timer until after it begins to boil. Now that my timer's gone off, I'll remove the lid, turn off the heat, and let it cool for 5 minutes. I then remove my jars from the canner and place them 1 to 2 inches apart on a heat-resistant surface. I'll leave them there for about 24 hours so that they can get a good seal. I know that they have a good seal if the center of the lid has depressed down. If it has, then I remove the ring and wash off the outside with hot soapy water and store them in a cool, dry, dark location like my pantry and use them in the next 1 to 3 years. If I have any that didn't seal, I would place them in the refrigerator and use them right away. Now to show you how to make the lemonade, it's very easy. You take 1 pint worth of the Blackberry Lemonade concentrate and you add it to 6 cups of water. Now this is kind of personal preference, and so if you wanted to do a little bit more water or a little less, you could. And then mix it together. A lot of times if I'm doing it in a jar like this, I will actually just put the lid on and I'll shake it, but today I'm very carefully stirring with a spoon. I'll then add my lemonade to a glass of ice, and you can see what a wonderful dark color it is because of those blackberries in there. And it's so good, actually. You get that blackberry flavor and then, of course, the tartness behind it, but it's not really that tart because there's also the sugar.